Alright guys, just wanted to do a little quick video over here just talking about Maeve because I know a couple people might be going for this unit because she is coming back for Little Big Tengu. I know this is a little bit different from how I usually do videos, but you know what? I'm a bit of a spontaneous guy. Sometimes I like to swap it up every now and then, alright? Gotta keep you guys on your toes, but nah, I just wanted to go ahead and give a little video for Maeve. Again, same thing for Ku Alter. I know not a whole lot of people are going to be summoning specifically for this unit, but I think it's also really good to just have a video on the channel in case somebody in the future pulls Maeve. Maybe Laseng will go ahead and drop the Lost Belt 6 outfit finally, and, you know, give that to me, so I'll specifically go summon the servant. But yeah, for whatever reason, I just think it's also just really good to have on the channel just in case somebody gets her in the future and they want to know how good the servant is. So in that vein, I'll also be talking about some of Maeve's future buffs as well. But before we actually start getting into this video, if you have not already, make sure you leave a like on the video and you subscribe to the channel for daily FGO content. Also, I stream every weekday over on my Twitch starting at around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, although yesterday I think I started at like 7:30 Eastern Standard Time because, you know, I got a little bit busy. I'm expecting company, so I'm kind of having to reformat my entire place, and I got a little caught up in that. But usually it's 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So without further ado, let's just start jumping into this, starting off with some of the things that Maeve actually does. Now, her hits aren't really super important. I mean, she's got very strong NP gain at this point, 86% here, and very strong arts cards. Well, I would say strong, but they're only 2 hits apiece. But they're strong because of her NP gain, right? And for her capacity to do pretty good crits. And that's why I kind of say they're strong, because as a writer, her natural star weight is really high. So even though the hits are low, they'll technically perform pretty well because she'll be naturally drawing those stars to herself while also having very powerful natural NP gain to kind of help her spam her NP. Now, you guys also know that she's got this insane 7-hit extra attack, and, you know, I haven't said it in a while, so maybe you don't know, but the extra attack is a composite card that gens stars NP and does big boy damage. 5 is usually the gold standard, but she's got 7, which is really insane. It means that her extra attack is going to be putting in some work, especially if you want to go the pen skill route and just have the godliest extra attack known to man, at least on Maeve, right? But that's really nothing else to like go over when it comes to like her hits and everything. Maeve is actually one of those servants that I think I've been talking about to people, and you guys have maybe heard me like mention this, but she kind of becomes a pseudo support slash DPS servant, right? Like, you can use Maeve as an offensive servant to some really good effect, especially because her damage mod is anti-mail, which is very strong. It means you can bring her to like even neutral fights, right? Where you're fighting like, say, a Lancer, right? You're fighting Ku for some reason, right? And you can bring her, even though she's not super effective because, you know, she's a rider and he's a Lancer, it'll still do a lot of damage just because her damage mod is really, really strong. Now, she's got all of the buffs that she's going to get, except for this last one. This one she'll be getting during the Grail live event, so very soon, in like the next month or two, we should be getting this. And this is what kind of completes the package for Maeve, because she's already really good right now, but this just kind of tacks on a little bit extra, right? So as a DPS servant, she's already got a lot of sustainability here. Like, even just now, it's super nice that she has 3 turns of free debuff immunity. That's 3 turns where you can't be charmed, you can't be stunned, your attack can't be lowered. It's just free 3 turns. Not like a lot of modern units that are getting debuff immunity by hits, right? Which is a little bit worse because you're only covered for that set amount of debuffs as opposed to just having a free 3 turns. But then she's also giving herself a little bit of HP back, which is good because she's a buster servant, and unless you're using Merlin, you're not getting any HP back, right? Koya, Skaya, and Oberon are not really healing you, right? Not like Merlin is with his NP. So this is really good to kind of keep her alive. And then 10% NP every single turn for 3 turns is also really good for sustain if you're missing those crits on those really strong arts cards again. But what this does is it gives her a battery for male and Fey allies. Now, the reason this is also really good, specifically for more like males, is that her charisma over here double buffs male servants, right? And that's why she can kind of be a pseudo support type servant. Like, you could bring double Maeve and give them 60% battery and 80% attack between the both of them, right? Which is also really good because then you get 4k HP back for them as well, which I think is really insane. You can kind of use her as a pseudo DPS that can do a lot of damage, especially if you're fighting against like a male enemy, because if she's fighting them, she doesn't really have to worry about her damage being bad, because again, all of Maeve's damage is free. Like, there's nothing that she specifically has to give away to be a support. It's just she happens to also be a support while still being able to do all of this damage over here, right? Because you look at her damage, it's not bad. Like 46k is pretty respectable for a single target, and she'll still be able to do this against males for free, because again, all of her buffs just kind of come naturally, right? She's already giving herself the attack buff, and then she's also lowering the enemy's defense. None of that changes. It only benefits the people that are around them. And again, if you're bringing her to fight male enemies, she's got a chance to charm them, right? Which is really good, because that can basically provide you an extra bonus turn if, for some reason your character's dodge is down, or maybe you're using her again in the same thing, like you're using her with Merlin, right? And maybe Merlin's invincibility skill is down, and so you can try to stall out an extra turn to get that invincibility. And then also lowering the enemy's defense is really nice for her for damage, but it's also nice if you're using her as a pseudo support, because then not only is she going to be able to still do really good damage, but the people around her are going to get to do really good damage as well. And then really the last thing to talk about is her NP. It's buffed, and yeah, it absolutely just slams male enemies into the ground, right? It also kind of gives you a bit more of a free charm on that third skill, because she's reducing their debuff resistance. Kind of think of this like baby Kama, right? This is kind of like Kama before Kama was a thing, where Kama is the inverse. She has a skill that reduces their charm resistance, and then her NP charms, Maeve is just backwards, right? You fire the NP first to kind of ensure that your charm is going to go through. But yeah, is this a servant that is like worth summoning? Honestly, like, I think she is a servant that, like, if you were to summon for her, like with Ku Alter, it's not like you're making a bad decision. It's not like she's completely dookie dog water and you're wasting your Saint Quartz. I think it's more along the lines of, yeah, she is really solid, but there's just better servants that are coming out. And especially, unfortunately, Maeve is on a banner with arguably the best DPS servant in the game. Now, I think you could have a little bit of a debate between, like, say, MHX Alter or MHXX and, like, Tyra. If you're a real crazy mad lad like myself, you might try to simp for Jalter a little bit, but, like, it's really unfortunate because Maeve is kind of like still right now is more of a dedicated DPS. She doesn't really have the rest of her support kit here. Again, we'll get this in Grail Live in like 1 to 2 months. So right now she's still kind of competing with people like Tyra for that like DPS role. Now, granted, thankfully they're not both of the same card type, right? Tyra's a quick servant and Maeve is a buster servant. But still, it's like if you can get Tyra, you kind of don't need any other DPS guys. Like, Tyra will have you covered because Tyra is insanely good. She is stupid dummy insane. So it's like, would I recommend going specifically for Maeve? No, because one, you have a better DPS servant that you could probably go for in Tyra, but two, you have other really good servants that are going to be coming out that are actually limited, right? Maeve is just story locked, right? So like, she's a little bit more accessible. If you really want her, I believe she'll be available during the 6th year anniversary as one of the people you can actually go ahead and pick. Whereas you can't just pick up Tyra for free. You can't just go ahead and pick up, what is her name? Karen for free. You can't pick up Miss Crane for free. You can't pick up Morgan for free. All these other servants that are going to be coming out, they're not going to be as available, right? Because they're actual limited servants. So yeah, I don't think it's really worth the going and summon for her. But again, this is just in the context of Little Big Tengu coming out right now. If you're watching this in the future and Little Big Tengu has ended and you've pulled Maeve, she's definitely really, really strong. She's one of those servants that I really enjoy using because of the fact that she's not like a lot of these other DPS hybrid servants, because Maeve, unlike a lot of the other ones, doesn't lose any of her damage. Like, say for instance, like Lancer Raiko, right? Like, Lancer Raiko is a DPS hybrid servant, but she has to give away some of her buffs, so then her damage actually suffers. But because Maeve only gets damage from the attack buff that she already gives herself and lowering the enemy's defense, she still benefits from all of her attack buffs, so she is still doing the same amount of damage while also benefiting the party by giving them buffs, as long as they're male or Fey enemies, right? Obviously, you want to kind of like double buff into like the male thing. I think that's a bit better because there's some Fey that are obviously not dudes, right? So then they don't get the attack buff over here. Still fine, they get 30% battery, and they're also getting, the 20% attack. They can benefit from this, and they can benefit from this if you're fighting a male. But again, I think Maeve is very, very strong. Hopefully in the future they throw her another buff. I think she would be, really sick with that. If they go ahead and actually drop her new outfit and then they drop like some other Fae related buff. I think this was a very well-timed, not that one. I think this was a very well-timed buff, giving her the male or Fae and then dropping Lost Build 6 as they did. I'm not going to spoil too much going in there, but she does get a costume. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything about it. I'm saying it's just very good skill buff that they're going to give her going into Lost Belt 6. I guess, well, going into. They're going to give it to her a bit before Lost Belt 6. But you guys get what I'm saying. That's a little bit of conjecture, right? But regardless, I think she's very, very solid. Would love to see her get the costume. And then, I don't know, she kind of reminds me of Ozzy in a way where I think they kind of both have a really good floor. Like, they start off pretty decent, but then as they start getting buffs, they start getting significantly better, right? Like, I think I've told people once Ozzy got his, like, buffs on the ones that he has on JP. Once he gets those, he becomes, like, a tier 1 insane servant. Like, he just becomes one of the most broken servants in the game, right? Even this next buff that he's going to be getting is stupid insane for him, but yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Again, sorry for kind of just like the different formatting. Did a little meme being like, I'm keeping you on your toes, but sometimes I do just like to change things up, right? Sometimes I like to do like, well, instead of doing a more traditional video, what if I just kind of talked with you guys, right? What if I just had a little bit of a chat, Sometimes I just like to have these more discussion type videos, right? So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. You guys have yourselves a nice day. Comment your thoughts in the comments down below. Oh, and yes, if there's any other things that you guys would like me to discuss, I've been trying to branch out and do some more of those, like the Nido Chris altar thing, doing that video. There's other stuff that I would like to do. If you see anything that you want me to talk about, let me know in the comments down below. With that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. You guys have yourselves a nice day. Peace. Late, guys.